Hey everyone, you are watching the Purple People podcast. You guys are in for a treat or something. This week it is just Dorian and I. There is no adult in the room right now, Dorian. It's just you and me and a live broadcast to talk about Vikings football.
Well, hey, I mean, shoot, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Uh,
wheels are totally off, you guys. They are totally off.
The wheels are off the cart and the cart is on fire right now. This is episode 333. I named it Run Run Rudolph because, heyo, Christmas season and spoiler alert, Kyle Rudolph had himself a pretty good game for Minnesota.
Yes, he did. Kyle Rudolph of old showed up this past Sunday, so I was with it.
Christian Ponder era Kyle Rudolph showed up. Oh, fuck. Hey, how was your Christmas, Dorian?
My Christmas,
You have a good Christmas?
yes, I did, and I have a story that I cannot share on air, but I will share with you in the group after this airs because, yeah, let's say
Awesome.
it's not PG rated.
Awesome. Awesome. You get any cool Vikings gear this year?
Actually, my girl got I actually left it at her house actually, but she got me a 2019 Minnesota Vikings calendar, which was like pretty fucking sweet. So
Awesome. Very
I,
cool. Very
I
cool.
can't complain, and as well as they hung socks and everything, and my girl thought about me, and there's a beautiful Minnesota Vikings sock hanging next to her trash Pittsburgh Steelers sock. So
Ooh, sweet, sweet. Oh, like a stocking, like a
yeah.
Vikings stocking. Sweet,
Uh-huh.
sweet, sweet.
How about you,
Uh,
man?
I ended up getting like a hat, like a winter like stocking hat. It's like Vikings. Uh, Always pretty cool. Always appreciate anytime I get the Vikings gear for the holidays or any other random time. If people want to send us gifts, you sure can.
I know,
Uh,
right?
it'll always be appreciated. Uh, let's see here. We are going to talk about the Vikings taking on and beating the Detroit Lions this week. But first, I have some quick hits that we're going to talk about. Got some fun things to discuss. Let's see if anyone's in here in the chat with us. Michael Cambria, heyo, thanks for joining us. I'm going to try to keep an eye on the chat, although it's a little tough when there's just the two of us. But as always, if anyone wants to ask any questions or anything, just do so. Dorian and I will try to answer
Yep.
as best we can.
Yes.
Hey, the first quick hit is a fun one. It is about Kirk Cousins and Brett Favre. Kirk Cousins is the first Minnesota Vikings quarterback since Brett Favre to pass for 4,000 yards in a season for the Minnesota Vikings.
That doesn't surprise me. I'm not trying to shit on that accomplishment, but that just doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
I mean, Kirk Cousins, he throws the ball, so yeah. I mean, congratulations. I mean, we
yeah,
haven't
no,
had
no,
that
no.
quarterback
I,
since Brett Favre.
I think it's a good stat. That's why we paid Kirk Cousins. Well, not we, not you and me, not we. We're not paying Kirk Cousins. I think that's why the Vikings are paying Kirk Cousins all that money is to be efficient and
Right.
competitive in the passing game. We've had a lot of quarterbacks on this roster since Brett Favre. Uh, and some of them we've really liked a lot, like Teddy Bridgewater. And I don't want to knock Teddy because I think Teddy is a great person, and I think he's a good quarterback. Um, but they haven't really had the success that we had would have liked to have had since Brett Favre. And I think that year one for Kirk Cousins, he's made some mistakes. I'm going to blame a lot of it on the offensive coordinator, but he's gone now, and I think they're going to kind of right the ship.
Mm.
Uh, so I think it's a good sign. Passing for 4,000 in the season. I think
I
that's
mean,
a good mark to hit.
yeah, it is. I mean, and like I said, it's not surprising just for the fact Kirk Cousins, he's been known for distributing the ball. Like different weapons. He did it in Washington, and obviously he's done it here. Clearly, so far, here in Minnesota,
Hmm.
um, and we have weapons. So, I mean, a guy by the name of Adam Thielen, another guy, Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty
Yeah.
good. Let's see here. Daniil Hunter. Hey, he did some cool stuff here. His old high school in Cathy, Texas, he donated a big chunk of change for the school to get some new football uniforms, which I always think is really cool. We always like to talk about when our players give back to the community, whether it be in Minnesota or elsewhere. Uh, and it's a good thing for them to, especially I'm assuming in a small town, kind of give back to the kids and remember the places where they came from. I think that's cool. And Daniil Hunter seems like a really good guy, on top of being an excellent football player for the Vikings as well, too.
Exactly, man. Daniil Hunter always seemed to be that cool cat. So there's nothing more that I can add on to it. I think that's very tremendous and awesome for him to give back.
Mm-hmm. He is one of those freaky athletic players that, for as big as he should not be as fast
No,
as what he is.
no, and that's scary, Kyle. That's real scary.
Yeah, it is a scary combination to look at him. Who do you think is the better defensive end, him or Everson Griffin?
Oh wow, put me
I
on the
know.
spot, but no. I think no knock on Everson Griffin. I give the nod to Daniil Hunter.
I think if you look at their whole body of work, I think Everson. Uh, I mean, obviously he's played more. Uh,
Right.
Based on this season, and I don't mean to, because we all know what happened with Everson. He missed some time away
Mm-hmm.
from whatever. I'm not knocking him, but I think that Daniil has really came into his own and has really made a name for himself. Uh, I think right now, if you were to just compare them today, I think that Daniil is probably the better of the two players.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, it's just pretty much we have the perfect 1-2 combination, at defensive end with those two. But I guess the only reason I'm giving a nod to Daniil is just because of, I guess, quite frankly, because he's younger, and pretty much we already see that he's the future. We resigned him, this past off season, and pretty much he's made his money and then some with what
Yeah, right.
he's done this season. So, well, I mean, without question, we already know Daniil Hunter's our future, and it's really nice that the NFL recognizes Daniil Hunter and recognizes the skill that.
Yeah, because he made it to the pro. Did he make it to the Pro Bowl this year?
Oh,
I
good
think
question.
he. I
Yes,
think.
yes,
Yeah,
he
he
did.
was one of our
Yes.
four first ballot Pro Bowl players.
But yes, no, yes, he did. He did make it, man. I mean, it's just also just nice. Like I said, that recognition and pretty much teams are like, whoa, and are actually you can kind of see they're scheming, against them. See, Kyle, we're like so used to we're so used to just saying flying under the radar, just kind of being a blip,
Yeah, it's been
not all
something
this
that Adam.
exposure.
That's something that Adam Thielen has had to adjust to, because he went from being, I don't want to say just a guy on the offense because he's always been really good, but
Mm-hmm.
he had that streak of 100-yard games, and now he's having to adjust to being double teamed out there on the field, and it's taken, I'm gonna say, a bit of an adjustment period for him to figure out how to continue to maximize his talents on the field. But yeah, I know what you mean about Daniil, and he's still getting it done,
Yeah,
uh, for Minnesota.
yes, he is.
Oh, hey, our next quick hit is about the Pro Bowl. Adam Thielen, Anthony Barr, Daniil Hunter, and Harrison Smith have been voted into the Pro Bowl. So congratulations to those guys. And then we know every season, as players drop out, they have alternatives that get selected in. I think there was a couple more Vikings that were named Pro Bowl alternatives, although I don't have it in front of me and I can't remember who they were. I want to
Uh,
say maybe Was it Stephon Diggs?
Maybe, but I didn't open up it up to read it, but I had saw something. I might even be wrong, but I saw something that Marcus Sherrills could be an
Oh yeah, I think you're
alternative.
right. I think you're right.
So I don't know how true that is. I mean, did you see that too? Did you see that same?
Yeah, once you mention it, that seems pretty
Yeah.
familiar. I'm gonna be honest here. Do we even care? I mean, it's a good, it's cool. I'm glad that Vikings are getting voted, but I mean, it's the Pro Bowl. Like, does anyone really? No one really cares about the amount
Right.
of the amount of Vikings that go to the Pro Bowl, do you? I mean, like,
I mean, no. I mean, it's not like the Pro Bowl to me was better when we were younger. I don't know when we were younger, growing up. I think Adam had mentioned it in our group chat about what he missed about the Pro Bowl was the skills competition.
yeah, I was always a big fan of the skills competition too.
But
I
then they took
guess
it away.
someone said in the chat, Michael Cambria, you mean Christian Ponder didn't make the Pro Bowl? I don't think he ever did. Or maybe he was an alternative. Maybe he was like the fourth or fifth alternative to the Pro Bowl because no one wants to play in that shit show. I guess my whole thing is I think the Pro Bowl voting is messed up to begin with. You look at like Aaron Rodgers goes in over top of Russell Wilson when Aaron Rodgers is having an off season and Russell Wilson is like in the MVP running category, but
Right.
he's not been voted to the Pro Bowl. Like that don't make no sense.
No.
There was that year that Jeff Saturday like got benched when he had that final season in Green Bay, and he gets voted to the Pro Bowl because he's the only center that anyone recognizes is Jeff Saturday. So shit like that, I'm never a fan of. It's always cool to see that, like, oh hey, like Vikings get voted in, like that's fans around the league recognize that we have good talent. But I always look for those All Pro lists that come out at the end of the year that
Yeah.
gets voted on by the media, because that is how you can tell who statistically is having the best season of the year. So I always look for who gets voted All Pro. That's the list that I am excited for. The Pro Bowl for me is, it's whatever.
They need to take. I hear everything you said, and I agree with you 1,000%. I just want to add on to it. I feel that we as fans, I don't think that we should have the ability to vote.
I don't think fans should either.
Because it's shown with history of things what you just broke down about Jeff Saturday. Another guy that's I don't think Andrew Luck got scratched off. He didn't. I don't think he's in the Pro Bowl. And Andrew Luck, statistically,
Mhm.
well, I don't know what the Colts' record is right now, but he should be in the Pro Bowl.
Oh, they're saying in the chat room that CJ Ham is an Pro Bowl alternative from Minnesota.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
I mean that's
he?
good, but I mean I don't know.
That's cool. Has he?
Question.
I don't. I mean,
I question Anthony Barr being selected. Saying to the Pro Bowl. And I like Anthony Barr. Obviously, yeah, he's one of us. He's a Viking, but I don't feel that Anthony Barr has come back and he's been productive. I don't think that he's done enough.
his end half of the season has been better than his. He started out a little slow.
Yeah.
For my take, but I think the end half he's picked it up and he's been having some better games for us.
So do you feel that pretty much the second half is enough?
I mean,
enough for the first half to give him that spot.
Pro Bowl voting is so wonky. I have, dude, I have no idea. Sure, why not? I ain't gonna argue with it that much. Let's see here. Dalvin Cook was named NFC Offensive Player of the Week for his performance against the Miami Dolphins. I did not write his stats down, but he had himself a hell of a game on the ground against Miami.
Yes, so, he did.
Kudos to Dalvin Cook. He is a difficult player to figure out because when he is healthy and like on the field, he looks good, but it's just he's so banged up all the time. It makes it difficult to rely on him, I think, week in
Right.
and week out. I really just want to see him healthy and productive for Minnesota. And I don't.
Well, well, in that game, he showed me and he proved me wrong. I think I mentioned this on that previous podcast. I was glad to be proven wrong, but Dalvin Cook in that game against Miami, he showed that he can be that that third down, saying three down back for us. Like he can be in it. We can put him, trust him to go through the trenches. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I mean, and I love it. I mean, because obviously that's a positive. Because I remember all four of us, we actually questioned that. Like, okay, what is Dalvin Cook? Is Dalvin Cook just potentially like another gimmick of doing like trick plays or something, and he's not really
I
necessarily our primary running back,
And
or
see, I still don't have an answer for the question that you just posed of what is Dalvin Cook. I still really don't know what Dalvin Cook is because we haven't seen him healthy for a full season playing behind an offensive line at full strength for Minnesota either because our offensive line is still banged up and we're relying on pieces and parts to go in there too. So I still don't know. I mean, clearly, I think he's a supremely talented player. You look at what he did, like I said, against Miami. Of course, you're excited and want to see more of that. He needs to be more consistent. I think consistency is a big deal for him moving forward.
yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree. Totally agree.
I think that goes for all our running backs too. Latavius Murray, all of them need to be more consistent in the run game.
Yeah, man.
Hey, here's a good segue. Speaking of former Minnesota Viking running backs, Adrian Peterson has rushed for over 1,000 yards this season for the Washington Redskins. Congratulations, Adrian Peterson, still getting it done out there.
Hell yeah,
I
AP.
think
Good,
I
good
think
job.
that's cool, man.
Uh,
This is Adrian's eighth 1,000-yard season and his first since 2015. He is currently eighth all time in career rushing yards. He's a legend. Adrian Peterson is a fucking legend, man. Like you're watching a Hall of Fame running back. I know it didn't end the best for Minnesota, his time here with us, and we were all maybe a little pissed off at him. But for me personally, I don't know what you guys think, but for me personally, like enough time has kind of went by that I'm okay with it now. Like I can be excited and happy for Adrian and wish him success. Because I know that when he's done, when he goes to retire, he's going to sign a 1-day contract and he's going to retire as a Minnesota Viking, and he'll be put into our Ring of Honor. And when he goes into the Hall of Fame, he's going to be a Minnesota Viking. Like first
right.
and foremost, he's a Minnesota Viking. So I'm happy for him. I'm really glad he's having this success in Washington. It's too bad that Alex Smith had to get hurt and ruin his chances to, you know, go into the playoffs and have that success because I don't know if he's really going to get that opportunity.
What again? Right, right. And I believe I saw that he passed Eric Dickerson.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he
Which
passed it. Yeah.
which has to be a big deal for him because I know that that's one of the guys that he looked up to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. See, look at it. Adrian Peterson beating his kids and beating the rest.
Oh, hush. Hush now.
I say that with love. It's a joke. It's jokes, everybody. Whoever's in the chat, it's just jokes.
Yeah.
Not trying to rehash that. No, but yeah, yeah, Kyle. I feel the same like you, man. I feel like enough time has passed. Whatever animosity that fans have or still have against AP, I think that should just be squashed. Saying water under the bridge.
Forgive and
I agree
forget.
with that scenario. Bringing him back in once he feels like he's done. Sign back that 1-day contract, retire as a Viking, and then when he goes into the Hall of Fame, which he will, it's going to be his Minnesota Vikings jersey in the Hall of Fame, not Washingtons or not
Mhm.
New Orleans or not Arizona's. It's going to
He
be Minnesota Vikings.
for his legacy, I think it's important for him to have this success that he's having in Washington, because if you looked at how it would have ended, like if he would have just retired or whatever, he would have had that terrible start with the Saints and getting traded and then going to Arizona. And he flashed here or there, but he didn't really do much for the Cardinals. That would have been kind of a shitty way for his career to end. And I
Right.
think it honestly would have hurt his Hall of Fame chances a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit. And I think that he can come out now, and like they're saying in the chat room, Washington has a banged up offensive line too. So for him to have 1,000 yards behind that, and with them to not have anything in a quarterback right now, is pretty impressive. And I think that speaks well for his chances in the Hall of Fame. To come out and to have a good. And how old is Adrian? I don't even remember how old he is.
I believe Adrian,
30,
freestyle, he's 33.
33, you think?
33, 34.
I don't know.
I think him and I are the same age. I'm 33.
Hey, Alexa. Hey, Alexa. How old is Adrian Peterson?
Adrian Peterson is 33 years old.
So he's 33.
He was born on March 21st, 1985 in Palestine, Texas.
That was more information than I needed, but there you go. He's 33.
First time ever on the Purple People podcast, Alexa has made her appearance.
Yeah, Alexa made an appearance. She's our co-host when it's just us two on the show.
That's awesome. But yeah, so yeah, man, that's still just a trip to me. I'm kind of side note, but it's just crazy how 33 is old.
Old for a running back.
Yeah. For a running back, like you're looked at as, you know what I'm saying, the old man. You're looked at like, you know, father time. You're just old and gray now, you know. That's crazy. It's still crazy to me.
But that's cool. Kudos to Adrian. Congratulations to him.
Yes.
And then our last quick hit is former Minnesota Vikings quarterback Taylor Heinicke has been placed on injured reserve for the Carolina Panthers. Just an interesting little note. I like to keep track of what happens to former players, former Vikings players when they're out there elsewhere in the league. It sucks for him that he only got like a 1-game shot to prove himself. I know we were all big fans of Taylor Heinicke, but hey, it happens.
Yeah, that's an awful break, man. By chance, do you know what happened or how did he get hurt? Or
I don't. I didn't look that up.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe ask Alexa.
Maybe Alexa can tell us.
Maybe Alexa can tell us how Taylor Heinicke got hurt.
I don't know. Maybe. Let's see here. What do you want to do? Do you want to do game balls and donkeys first, and then talk about the game? Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'll have you pull up while we're talking really quick, or I can do it. Let's see if they said anything in the chat. They did. So I have a game ball from Kyle Smith, who's given his to Kyle Rudolph, and I am also giving mine to Kyle Rudolph. So that works really well. He is the man that we named our episode after. I felt that Minnesota really needed a spark at the end of the second half, going into halftime, and Kyle Rudolph coming down with that Hail Mary was the spark that the Vikings needed. So that was a good momentum swing, a good momentum changer for the team. On top of that, if you look at his receiving yards, dude had 2 touchdowns and 122 yards receiving on 9 receptions. That's a pretty good fucking total for Kyle Rudolph. He's been a little quieter this season, but this was a good performance from him. I don't know. What did you think, Dorian?
Well, that was my game ball as well.
Yeah, unanimous.
Yeah, it's unanimous, man. Just because it took me back to Kyle Rudolph kind of turned the hands of time back a little bit. You know, we joked earlier before getting on about the Christian Ponder era or whatever. But I mean, but that's what Kyle Rudolph was doing before. You know, that's part. You know, saying got his name, his recognition. You know, he was that big red zone. You know, saying weapon for us, and it just he put up similar numbers they did. What saying then in this game. So it was really lovely to see. And pretty much Kyle kind of put his money where his mouth was. You know, he wanted that opportunity. He expressed that going to the coaching staff, going to Coach Zim, and just asking for that opportunity to be more effective on this offense. And he proved it, man. He proved it. I was very ecstatic. And I even posted on Facebook, I said, Kyle Rudolph, you are a very beautiful tall man. Because it was really like it was really good to see that, man. And
have you ever seen the photograph that I have taken with Kyle Rudolph?
yes, and pretty much he makes you look like a dwarf.
Yes, he is. I'm 5'8", and he's what, 6'8", I think.
God.
And I go to like his waist. And that is no joke. He is the largest person I have ever met, and just shaking, like going to shake his hand. I'm not exaggerating right here, guys. The palm of his hand was the full length of my hand.
Oh, God.
Just his palm, dude. He can catch a football. He can like swat it out of midair with just one hand and just like ring it in. On when they're doing drills and stuff in training camp, it's unbelievable. Just how big this guy is. How tall are you, Dorian?
I am 6'2".
Yeah, he would, and you're a pretty big guy too. He would make you look small.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's
you see it on TV, so I can only imagine, but prior to you meeting him, like you already knew that he was a big guy because he looks like it on TV. So I can only imagine what went through your mind when you were there face to face, kind of like, holy shit,
Yeah. What do we have for donkey? Kyle Smith is gonna go with Mike Rimmers.
Okay, I'll go with Mike Rimmers too, because I'll be honest, I didn't have a donkey. Because I really couldn't figure one out, but yeah, Mike Rimmers, he did get flagged a few times this game. Am I right?
Yeah, I think so.
Calls and stuff.
I'm in the Christmas spirit, so I'm not going to give a donkey this week. Christmas was yesterday. It's the gift, the season for giving. So I'm not going to give a donkey. The Vikings got a victory. What is there to complain about?
I know we won.
Yeah, right.
We won. Whatever.
Right. My play of the game has definitely got to be that Hail Mary. Because the Vikings were not really doing shit on offense, and it felt like leading up to that point that if the Vikings didn't get a big play soon, that it was going to be we were going to get beat by Detroit, and I think that got them some good momentum going into the second half.
I agree. I agree. That'll be my play of the game as well.
Yep. That's what Ying Yaj says in the chat too, is that the donkey goes to the entire first half offense for the Vikings. They really didn't get much done.
Yeah, they did. They didn't. That's just funny.
Mm-hmm. What else? I'm trying to get caught up with everyone in the chat here. It's a little difficult when we're talking. Stefanski's logic, less Treadwell, more Kyle Rudolph. That was something I wanted to talk about too. Laquan Treadwell being a healthy scratch for Minnesota is a positive. That's a positive at this point, right? we can just say that. Like that's
know how I feel about him.
Well, the floor is yours. Go for it.
Oh, I mean, I don't want to kick the man while he's down. I mean,
no, you can kick him. Fuck him.
no, I've already done enough. Okay, I'm in the Christmas spirit, so
okay.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm in the Christmas spirit, Christmas mode. I'm not gonna go and bash Laquan Treadwell. I do agree that was the best decision for the team, and it gave opportunities to Cats like Chad Beebe, or more so, the first person I thought about as far as like replacing Laquan Treadwell was Aldrick Robinson. Aldrick Robinson literally came off the streets. And, his first game going back a few weeks back to our game against the Rams and came in. Okay, I'm ready to run. I'm ready to catch this football. Okay, I'm going to score a couple times. And that's what he's been nothing but good. And it's just like, okay, dude, what are you doing? Talking about Laquan Treadwell, going back to Laquan Treadwell. What are you doing? You see what he's doing. Why can't you do the same thing? And that's the thing that's asinine to me. Damn it, Laquan Treadwell, why can't you do the same thing similar to a walk-on like an Aldrick Robinson? Why? And I've seen you in person, Laquan. Like Laquan Treadwell in person. Oh man, he's a huge target, and that's it further infuriates me. Is like, but you've given us this. Your time here, you just.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with him, but I'm ready to move on. And I think it's a positive that you can't force a player to be good, and they've given him more than his fair share of opportunities. And at this point, I think it's a hindrance to the team to have him on the field. You got to have other guys out there who can potentially make plays for the team. And look, Laquan, he's just not getting it done.
Yes.
In my opinion, anyway. Let's talk a little bit about the game. Of course, the Vikings did beat the Detroit Lions 27-9. That puts us on 8-6-1 for the season for our record. That record still feels weird to me, and I know it's because of the tie at the end of it. But I still feel like we should have a better record than what we do. But yeah,
Buffalo, ring a bell. Yeah.
Oh, that was frustrating. There's been some frustrating moments this season for sure. That was one of them. I'm gonna mix it up here a little bit. I'm gonna start with special teams first because I read what I want to read when I do this shit. So Dan Bailey was 2 for 2 on field goals. He had a long of 29 yards. And heyo, he was 3 for 3 on extra points as well, too. So congratulations, Dan Bailey. You did not fuck up this week.
Congratulations on doing your fucking job. Whatever.
Yeah. Matt Weil, 6 punts for, 120 yards, long of 58. Sure, I don't really know how to break down punter stats that much, but I didn't see anything that stood out as a big mess up for me, so yeah, whatever.
Yeah, he didn't get blocked, so yeah.
There you go. Kirk Cousins. What do you think of Kirk? He was 21 for 28 for 253 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions.
Kirk Cousins was solid.
Yeah.
Like, the first half, going back to the first half, he came out slow. He came out slow, and we looked like kind of like what the hell is going on, So with going back to the Kyle Rudolph Hail Mary, that gave us that spark. And I'll give Kirk Cousins credit. The second half, he did turn it up, and and he was much better, performer in the second half. To really, he came through where we needed to, get the lead that we got, and we kept it. So I give Kirk credit. I'm not gonna poo-poo on Kirk this week. He was all right.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of understand this far into the season, kind of what some Redskins fans were talking about with Kirk Cousins. This is coming up in the chat a little bit too, where there's good Kirk and there's bad Kirk, and sometimes you don't quite know who's going to show up. He did okay this week. I thought that the first half, for whatever reason, was a little slow. Didn't quite work out. Definitely, like you said, Dorian, they definitely picked it up in the second. He leaves a little. I like Kirk Cousins. I think he's gonna do fine long term for Minnesota. Some of his decision making, he holds onto the ball too long.
Yes.
For me, and he doesn't, like, I want to see him make a decision. Like, he can run with the ball, but he doesn't know when to make that decision to run with it, and then he gets sacked because of it. Because he doesn't quite decide what he wants to do. And I think that's something that they need to work on him with this offseason. Some of his decision making needs to improve. But overall, I mean, I don't know. I think it was a good performance in the second half from him. Yep.
I mean, I'll give him credit. I mean, he like I said, started off slow. He made the right adjustments, at halftime with himself to get the offense back going, and he was nice. He was nice, and he helped. Like I said, when we got the lead, he helped build that lead, and then he helped keep that lead, sustain that lead. So I have no complaints on Kirk Cousins this week at all.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let's take a look at our rushing leader. Was Dalvin Cook. No surprise. He had 73 yards on 16 carries. No touchdowns for any of our running backs this week. Sad face for that one. If you had him in fantasy football, you've got no points. Latavius Murray only had 22 yards on 9 carries. And then Thielen, Cousins, and CJ Ham had a couple attempts for basically nothing between all of them, so none of those count. Wasn't as solid as a performance as what Dalvin Cook had, obviously coming off from the Miami game, but Detroit also has a better defense than what Miami does. 73 yards is respectable.
Right.
I would still like to see him get more than 16 attempts. I think that I agree with Mike Zimmer. He needs to have more rushing attempts per game. That's when you're going to find more success from Dalvin Cook. Latavius Murray, I don't know. What do you think of Latavius this season so far?
I like it.
I do too, but I'm a little disappointed in him.
Well, you can't necessarily be disappointed in him. Our offensive line is so, I mean, pretty much he's only doing what he's being, gotten. So, I'm not disappointed in Latavius Murray.
I had higher expectations for him. I guess I wanted more from Latavius.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to see him have success and stick around because I like him a lot too.
Right.
Let's see, what does Ying Yash say in the chat here? He's typing into us. Kirk in 2016 also led the Redskins to an 8-6-1 record going into week 17 of the 2016 season. That's an interesting stat. I did not know that.
Very interesting. Like,
yeah.
What the hell? That is quite bizarre.
He threw a game-ending interception into Giants territory. Oh, well, let's not hope that happens.
Yeah, because we have a big challenge on our hands this coming Sunday.
Yeah, Chicago this Sunday, right?
Yeah, and then I think if I'm right, or correct me if I'm wrong, anybody listening, what I'm saying in the chat, I believe if we win this game, then we're in. But then I think we have to go to Chicago. In a wild card game.
Yeah, that's right. We'll talk about Chicago here more in a little bit. We still got a little bit more game players to talk about.
Okay.
Our receiving leader was Kyle Rudolph. Obviously, we all gave him a game ball and named the show after him. 122 yards, 2 touchdowns. We talked about him. Great performance. Next up was Adam Thielen, who had a quiet 80 yards receiving. Yeah, 80 yards. I know, right? It didn't seem like it when you watched it. But yeah, dude had 80 yards on only 5 receptions.
Wow. Okay.
Dalvin Cook caught 3 for 35. Stephon Diggs was quiet. He was only 2 for 10, but he did have a touchdown. So that it always helps putting points on the board.
Right.
Latavius Murray was 2 receptions for 6 yards. That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Aldrick Robinson had 2 targets with no receptions for no yards. Womp womp.
Better than Laquan Treadwell.
Yes, who had none because he was on the bench where he should be. Really quick here. Our defensive leader was tied. Harrison Smith and Eric Wilson both had 6 tackles and 1 assist. Anthony Harris, 5 tackles, and then a whole bunch of other players stepping up and having a good game on deep. Like a lot of players had a good game on defense. Xavier Rhodes, Ben Gideon, Anthony Barr, Trey Waynes, Linval Joseph, Daniil Hunter, Tom Johnson, Everson Griffin, Shelton Richardson, Kentrell Brothers was even in there, Jaleel Johnson. So a lot of players were out there making tackles. For the Vikings, Everson Griffin looks like he had a sack. It looks like Kentrell Brothers had one. Eric Wilson got him a piece. So a good defensive performance, I would say, for the Vikings.
I like Eric Wilson.
Yeah.
I like Eric Wilson. He's starting to show up a little bit more. I've seen it like this season. He's starting to amp it up just a little bit. I really like it.
Do you know who I like a lot?
Who?
Holton Hill.
Holton Hill, yeah.
Holton Hill, dude.
Yeah.
He was undrafted, wasn't he?
Undrafted from Texas.
What is it with these undrafted kids?
I have no idea, but shit, who the hell cares? If he's coming in to produce,
right?
It's like,
right?
Come on. I'm not going to tell that same story about when he that our game against the Jets when he went in for, I think he went in for Xavier Rhodes, and the announcer was the commentator. I forgot who it was, but it was just like,
oh yeah, they circled. I remember that. They circled him.
Yeah,
on TV, and they were like, "I bet they're gonna pick on Holton Hill," and then he got an interception immediately.
Right. Immediately. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. But Holton Hill has been nothing but like Holton Hill, for him to be a rookie. He's already like on certain defensive stops, he's already doing, making veteran instincts, veteran decisions, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was it against Miami? No. Who do we play before Miami?
Oh God, I don't remember.
Dang. Okay, well, I remember that pretty much he had 2 back-to-back touchdown saving, plays that he made. And pretty much one in particular, one of the plays that he made, he basically led the receiver just based on just like his position, not even like body contact, but just by his positioning. He led the receiver out. I think he caught the ball, but he didn't have the position to get both feet in and pretty much, know the touchdown. And I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Because it was very impressive, for a rookie to have those instincts.
Well, not only a rookie, but I mean an undrafted guy.
Yeah.
I think Holton Hill is like he might be my rookie of the year when we do our end of the year awards for the Vikings. Like I think Holton Hill might be the guy that I have to give it to, man.
And I don't think we would disagree with you with that at all.
Yeah.
Hell, we might, I guess, kind of speaking for both Adam and Kyle, maybe
who was our
that in common? Maybe.
I feel bad. I can't remember shit right now. Who was the corner that we drafted that got hurt? Our first round pick.
Last name,
Mike Hughes?
Mike Hughes.
Wait, is it really? Is it really Mike Hughes? Holy fuck!
Don't feel bad. Yeah, we're both like.
Yeah, Mike Hughes. Yeah. It's too bad that he got hurt because I think he was doing really good as well too. Yeah. But it speaks well for Mike Zimmer just as a coach, a defensive-minded coach, that they can find someone like Holton Hill. See, it's not just us. People in the chat are like, I totally forgot about Mike Hughes. Yeah.
Hey, Mike Hughes made my bold prediction come true because I told you guys that he was going to start week 1. And
yeah, dude, you're right.
And he started. The only thing that stopped him was him, unfortunately, getting that knee injury and having to be out.
I think defensive back is the hardest position to play in the NFL.
Yes.
I think over top of quarterback. Because what you ask a defensive back to do, cover this wide receiver, and this wide receiver, chances are, is going to be one of the best in the nation at what he does. So he's super fast, probably freakishly tall, and super athletic. You have to run backwards, and you have to guess where he's going on the field. Just go do that. Like, I don't even know how you learn. How do you even learn to that? That is so fucking difficult. How do you learn to do that?
Yes.
I have no idea.
Yes. We talked about that before, man. That scenario, that same exact scenario.
Yeah.
And just all you can do, or all we can do, is just shrug our shoulders and just
go cover Calvin Johnson, running backwards and guessing what part of the field he's running to.
Yeah.
How do you do? I don't even know how you do that. That's just it's cool to me that there are guys that can be talented enough to do that.
Most definitely.
Yeah. I don't even remember what we were talking about. Was there anyone else I wanted to mention? No, I think we pretty much got it. Kick returns. Amir Abdullah. I really don't know why he's on the team. Adam brought this. So Adam brought this point up in the chat. Okay. If you're going to have a roster spot for someone who is just a return player, why wouldn't you have kept Cordero Patterson?
That's a fair question. That's a fair question.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm sure Amir Abdullah is a good guy, but he's not like it's fucking like Devin Hester. Don't kick to Devin Hester. Like, right. you can kick to Amir Abdullah.
Right.
It's gonna be fine. Like, he's not. So I guess I don't get it.
I don't either. That's a valid point. Because my question is, there's nobody on the roster now before signing him. There's nobody on the roster that could have had on during practice and stuff to. Okay, you're like Marcus Sherrills. We're okay. Marcus Sherrills is a cornerback. Well, quarterback. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm just saying, Kyle. Like, okay, there's nobody on the roster that could have practiced. Okay, let's try you out instead of like signing somebody just specifically to be a kick return.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a fair question of, okay, if that's the case, then yeah, Cordero Patterson technically should still be a Minnesota Viking.
Yeah, and I guess Brian does bring up a good point in the chat room where he's like, well, it's running back depth is why he's here. And yeah, I mean, obviously he's a backup running back that they feel must be good at kick returns as well, too. So that must be where they see the value in him. Maybe, I don't know if they should give him an opportunity to try to rush the ball maybe a couple times a game, but I don't want to take opportunities away from Dalvin Cook to put the ball in the hands of Amir Abdullah. So I guess maybe I kind of get why they use him just on special teams then.
Yeah.
We can talk ourselves into that one.
Yeah.
So you brought up an interesting point about Chicago. If we play them this week, and then we potentially play them in the playoffs, in the wild card round of the playoffs, do you have to do that stupid thing where you're like, we don't want to reveal the full game plan because we're playing them next week in the play? Like, I hate that shit. Don't you?
I do too, but pretty much must win for us. So whatever.
Yeah, we have to.
On the whole fucking playbook or not, we have to win this game.
I believe in our players. I believe in the team. Throw the whole fucking playbook at them.
Yes.
And then next week, you throw the whole fucking playbook at them again, and you just believe that we're the better team, and we're going to beat them twice in a row. Like, that's what you have to do. Because in any time Mike Zimmer, if there's a valid argument about him, anytime he thinks too hard about situations like this is when the team gets too cute and they do stupid shit and they lose a game that they shouldn't. So just don't overthink it. Just beat Chicago, and then if we play them again in the playoffs, we beat them again. That you just have to deal with it.
Right. I mean, keep it. It's not simple, but keep it simple. So don't think much of. Don't think too much into it. I mean, pretty much just do it. That's pretty much it, Kyle. Like what you said.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if it's the full damn playbook, okay, let it be the full playbook this week. We beat them. Okay, you're gonna get the full fucking playbook next week. Like whatever we have to do. I mean, it's crucial for us. They're already sitting pretty. They're in. We're the ones that have to fight, fight just to, just to get in, just to solidify our spot, man. So
could Chicago be resting some of the starters?
Kyle, if they do, then hey, fuck it, that's good for us. Whatever they want to do, okay, to get us, okay, yeah. And then it'll be that much sweeter, Kyle. Okay, if they are resting some of their starters or whatever for this game this Sunday. That's good. Okay. That should be our advantage because we're gonna have all our starters in. So that should be to our advantage. We win this game this Sunday. Then okay, the following week or whatever, okay, if we go to Chicago and then beat them with everybody, with their full starters, I mean that's a real notch on under our belt. So
yeah.
We just got to get in. That's all, Kyle. Because if we our road, if we get in, man, it's not. It's real brutal. Because pretty much, okay, we get past Chicago, then we're probably gonna have to see New Orleans. Get past New Orleans. Get past New Orleans, then we're gonna have to potentially see the Rams in LA. That's not. I'm just just freestyling. Our road to the Super Bowl, we get in. It's not pretty at all, bro. But yeah,
it's a cliche. They really just got to take it
one game at a time. I'm sorry.
No, I'm still getting over my cold too. They just got to take it 1 week at a time.
Yeah.
It's about all you can do. They got to stop Khalil Mack. That is the thing when facing Chicago. And I don't know how you do that because he's a hell of a player. I feel sorry for poor CJ Ham or any other running back on this team. It's like, by the way, you have to go help block that guy because that guy is a freak fucking athlete.
Yes, he is, man. Khalil, man. Stupid fucking Raiders. I swear.
Yeah, fuck you, John Gruden, for sending him to Chicago.
Sorry.
Why couldn't you have just paid him?
Yes. Yes. He hasn't. That's the funny thing, Kyle. It's not like, okay, they traded him to Chicago and then Khalil, then he just all of a sudden just like dipped down in performance.
No.
He's not only stayed consistent, but he's amped up his shit as well, dude. Like, so he's playing that like he's worth every penny, every bit of that contract that he signed.
Have you seen that meme online that's like, Khalil Mack is Khalil Mack, but a first-round draft pick could be anything. It could even be Khalil Mack.
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, that was like the meme of like John Gruden's logic for why he traded Khalil Mack.
That's hilarious.
I thought that was good shit.
We make this joke, man. He trades away Khalil Mack, trades away Amari Cooper, but he signs Nathan fucking Peterman.
They need a drug test, John Gruden.
I don't get it, but that's not our team, so that's what they have to worry about. It's just still just funny, man. Just that thought. But
hey,
go ahead.
No, we have an awesome solution in the chat from Ryan on how to stop Khalil Mack. We're going to put Anthony Barr in at fullback, and we're going to run Daniil Hunter at right tackle. Anthony Barr played running back in high school.
Yes, he did.
And I think some in college as well, too. So that's goal line package. I'm just saying. It could happen.
It's something, Kyle, because even if we double, it's something, because even if we double team Khalil Mack, Khalil Mack is such, he's had such an effect on that defense, on the Bears defense overall, that line is the rest of their line is motivated. So I don't. It's like good luck. I think you had mentioned before with us, with us running the ball. No, you said as far as like blocking, like having Dalvin Cook or somebody block for Khalil Mack.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm talking about running the football, Kyle. Like once again, it's like good luck with us trying to establish the run.
You know what I think? I think they need to get the oxygen mask ready for Linval Joseph. We're gonna ask Linval to play both ways on the field, and we're just gonna line Linval up as a fullback and be like, "Go block Khalil Mack," and we're just run. We're just gonna see what happens when those two just bash against one another. That would be fucking interesting to watch.
Yes, that would, man. But I doubt that that's going to happen. But hell yeah, that would be real nice. That would be very interesting to see, man. But it's gonna be a tough time. It really is. Like, this game is not gonna be easy this Sunday, and not trying to look past like it's just automatic, but we have to win, and then pretty much if we do, then we have to look forward to seeing them again, and pretty much when we see them again in the playoffs, it's going to be full force. And somebody on one of our posts, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. But I still want to give you credit for it. But basically, in essence, mentioned that this game right here will be an actual test for Kirk Cousins to really prove.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, to really prove that saying that he's worth that $84 million. To prove that he can actually deliver big in big time situations, crucial situations.
I'm gonna count this as our social media question for the week. Kyle Smith posted this up on the Facebook page. Okay. He says, buy or sell. This Sunday's game is the most important game in Mike Zimmer's tenure as the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. We got some long answers for this one, too. Thomas Buge says, yes, because it is the playoff mentality against a guy who is technically undefeated against us. That's a good point. Ying Yaj, who I think is with us in the chat, says he is buying because I think Sunday is the most important game in Kirk Cousins' career. Oh, I bet that's who you were talking about, Dorian. Yeah, there you go.
Bro. I didn't mean to, take the credit from
you. But yep.
I got it for you, brother.
Definitely, it's the most important game of Kirk Cousins' career, and I think for Mike Zimmer as well, too. Mark Anderson says, we've been in playoff mode the last 3 weeks. We beat the Bears at home by a touchdown and beat them in the first round of the playoffs by a field goal. Skull. I like that because we got a prediction, too. So he's saying that we're going to beat them by a touchdown this week, and then if we play them again the following week, we will beat them by a field goal. That's a bold prediction. I like that.
Is Dan the Man Bailey's gonna come through for us?
Yeah, gonna get the curse of the Vikings kicker off, just over with for Minnesota. Yeah. So, what do you think, Dorian? The most important game for Mike Zimmer so far?
Oh, I would have to agree. I mean, we spoke about our record before, what it is, and pretty much you and I both agree that our record we should have more wins.
Should be better than what it is.
Should be better than what it is. I mean, and that does go back to the coach. So I believe that this is very important for us to get this win, to get in, and to make the playoffs, to get in. And then I believe the following week is basically kind of like the same scenario, Kyle, because it's like, just to really show, show and tell, show and prove, Mm-hmm. So I believe coach needs to, it's time. It's time for him to
I mean, clearly the biggest game that he's had was that one against the Eagles. Was like the biggest game that the Vikings have played in. The most important game. Does that imply that if he loses, he's on the hot seat?
Hell
because
no.
Because I don't think so. Because if you want to go that route, if you're saying it's important because if he loses, he's on the hot seat for Minnesota, my answer is no, because I don't think he's on the hot seat for this team. It's the current next biggest game for Minnesota,
Right.
if that makes sense. What does Adder say in the chat? It's important, but I'm not sure you could call it more important than an NFC Championship game. Yeah, that's what I wanted. That's what I was trying to say too. I agree with that.
Yeah. So yeah, this is important, no doubt. But yeah, last year we were in the NFC Championship. You know what I'm saying? And we were one game away from, you know what I'm saying, from going to the Super Bowl. And yeah. So yeah, this game is important, but yeah, we need to. I mean, okay, just that scenario that I broke down to you, bro. Could you imagine if we were to get past Chicago, get past New Orleans, get past you know, Rams? I mean, just go through, and mind you, we're on the road with these games, you know, to make it to the Super Bowl. I mean, that in itself will be an amazing feat and accomplishment in itself. And then, of course, winning it obviously will change everything. You might as well build a statue right now in Minnesota for Mike, for Coach. You know,
no shit. You
know? And then Kirk Cousins will be just as big as Prince in Minnesota.
I don't want to. This is gonna sound a little bit like losers mentality, and of course, I want us to win this season, but we do have a window with Kirk Cousins that they're building this team around, and they ran into some issues year one with the offensive coordinator. It's whatever happens, it's okay. Like, we've got next year, and that sounds like I'm giving up on the season. I'm not giving up on the season. That's just kind of my perspective as a fan. Of course, I want Minnesota to win every week. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
And I think they can. I think if you get into the playoffs, any team can beat any team when you're in the playoffs. You never know what's going to happen. So, just all they got to do is just get there.
Right. I agree.
Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about, Dorian? Because we are at the end of our show notes.
Oh, we are. Oh, wow.
We are. Yeah.
We did it.
Somehow.
We did a show. We accomplished. And nobody died or anything. No, man. I'm good, brother.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else that we're missing. There's a couple other things. Like our fantasy football league, but Adam's the one who takes care of that. So I don't know what the update on our fantasy is. So you guys will have to tune in next week. Otherwise,
everybody got strikes. Everybody lost, and there's no prizes being.
Christmas has been canceled in the Purple People Survival Podcast League.
Guys.
Yeah. I just want to remind everyone, subscribe to us on YouTube if you haven't, because the more subscribers we have, the more it helps us out in the long run. It helps us do more things and be more visible over YouTube. So that's always really cool. Be sure to check us out over on Facebook. We always appreciate when you guys interact with us. I want to thank everyone for joining us in the chat room this week. Sorry we didn't get a chance to talk as much as we like to. It's a little more tough when there's just the two of us to kind of read the chat and not have dead air in the middle of the show. But yeah, hopefully Adam and Kyle Smith will be back with us next week. We miss those guys. They keep us in line. And unless Dorian has anything else to say, I think we can wrap it up.
Can I say the ending part? Can I say the?
I'm tired of talking. Go for it.
Thank you for joining, and stay classy, Minnesota.
Thanks, everyone.